You are listening to the Hello Sport Podcast. What's up, punters and dribblers? Welcome back to another episode of, are we calling it All Talk? Is it All Talk or is it
Fuck
just okay, fucking All Talk.
All Talk brought to you by Good Day.
Brought to you by Good Day, daily multivitamins. Back for another one. Looking forward to this. Brendan Cowell, punters and dribblers. An actor, a writer, a thespian.
A league lover.
A Sharks fan, a league lover, and a good man. He has he wrote a book called Plum about Peter the Plum Lum. It's a fictional story of a former rugby league player suffering with concussion. It has been made into an ABC TV show. We've seen a couple episodes of the same name, mind you. It's a fucking terrific show.
It's so good. Fuck, it's well done, well produced, well acted, well filmed. The whole thing's sick.
It's really good.
It's not budget. It's not budget Aussie bullshit. This is the real deal.
Well, it's not like, and I don't mean to be mean here. It's not like your sort of underbelly, where it's like trying really hard to be like Ozcore Australian. It's just very natural. Anyway,
very real.
Very real. It's a great it's a great show. Go out there and watch it. It's available on ABC iView from October 20.
Yep. 8:30 p.m.
8:30 p.m. All episodes drop, and it's a great yarn. Anyway, punters and dribblers, please enjoy our dear, close, personal friend, Brendan Cowell.
When was the last time we all discussed? I think this is my third time, is it?
I can't remember. It feels like it's been a while.
Definitely done one. We did that back at Kempy's.
Is it? Or Batuta?
Oh, no, Batuta, rather.
We did one at Batuta, and we might have done a pandemic-y, Zoomy one or something. I don't know.
Mate, honestly, I have no idea.
How long have you been going for?
8 years this year.
Oh, well done.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's it is 8 years, isn't it?
Yep. I think the first time we got you on was 2020?
Was I an early
2021?
adapter, or was
Oh,
that...
yeah. No, you were
like, I was looking it up yesterday. You were episode like 180 something.
Yeah, that's...
But I was an early fan.
Yeah, you
I
were...
expressed my enthusiasm early.
Yes, you did.
You did.
Yeah, I was connecting early.
Fucking oath. Yeah, it was OG stuff. When
it
when
was.
You first came, when
Yeah.
you came on.
Which was nice to get because we weren't getting a lot of outward love back then.
No, yeah, when
Not
people
heaps
actually
of it.
started to reach out, and then obviously someone of note was also nice. It was like, this isn't just some fucking
Are we
guy.
recording it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going. We just go.
We are?
Yeah. We'll record like an actual intro afterwards. Or
Yeah. Yeah, no, I just remember listening to you guys, and it was kind of, this will sound sentimental, but it was just like, oh, finally someone's kind of involving, being an Australian male who ponders sport in kind of that deeper way and is honest about it. And I was just listening going, oh, it exists. This is cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is it's going the next level beyond statistics and players into what it means to us. The obsession.
Yeah, exactly. The obsession. What it's like to be obsessed and to not have the requisite information to talk stats and
Well, you're just
players.
going off the cuff.
Yeah.
It's the purest expression of sport is to speak about it with basically no idea.
And no research.
It's just emotional. It's just feeling.
Yeah. And that's really come up this year, I think, about because journalists now kind of are the celebrities of rugby league.
Yeah, I know.
They're on all the shows and
Yeah.
on the sideline. It's
Yeah.
like, aren't you the journalists?
Yeah.
But in rugby league, they're like the faces. And I'm just a fan. Like, I'm an actor who loves rugby league. You know, so much so that I made a show to live out a fantasy that I was going to be
the greatest Sharks players
and
of all time.
Every now and again I go, well, the problem with this guy is he needs to do more. And then I stop myself and go, no. You're stepping over the edge of thinking you know shit about how much they do on the rowing machine, what they eat, when they wake up. Like, you're never going to have a fucking clue of what it's like to be a player.
Like when Trell comes back after an off-season, like, mate, he's looking a bit fat, and you're like, what the fuck do you know?
Exactly. So I really try to just stay in ignorant fan.
Yes.
With a lot to say.
Oh, absolutely.
But
don't stop
ignorant fan.
Yeah, don't stop talking.
No.
Yeah.
We draw the line at X's and O's, you know?
Yeah.
I don't actually really know what's going on. I do, but certainly not at a level. You listen to like Mason and Justin Horrow's Scope talk about it.
Yeah.
And they're on a different level. Joey, when he talks about it, like the things they see, I'm not even aware of.
I also love that now, just the way that it's become, it's like you said Mason and Scope before you said Joey when talking about the game of rugby league.
Well, they're dear friends of ours.
I know, I love them. I love them. They're fantastic. It's just
he's been amazing in the media too, Mace. It's like it's so good seeing people who are outspoken, have opinion, have a crack, and
seriously.
And yeah, it is. Everyone seems to. It's the same with acting. Like when people go that last season of that shouldn't have been more like this, and that actor was shit because of this, and you go, we're all just trying. Like we're all just having a crack in acting, and we're all a bit lost. And when you get to your new part, you're just nervous going, I'm just going to get this everything, give it everything, listen to the director and have a shot. And the criticism's like, whoa, you know, like we were just trying.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same with footy players. They're just going to training and giving it everything, aren't they?
Yeah.
But everyone is, I think via the journalists, everyone thinks that they know what they should do.
It's funny, and I feel it's probably similar in all sports now because, I mean, you see some of the biggest, you know, like your Stephen A. Smiths, there are these like American journos who are as big as any of the former athletes. But it is funny when you go on, you watch NRL 360, which is a show I enjoy, but Braith's asking like Brent Reed what he thinks about
I know.
About how the game went. And it's like, Braith.
And Brent hasn't been in a lot of scrums. No. He hasn't benched a lot. He hasn't been in any fights. But you know, and I'll get this out of the way early. I did win the Daily Telegraph tipping competition this year. So
did you really?
Yeah, probably the most. I guess I probably am the greatest thinker in the game at the moment in terms of forecasting what's going to happen. Right? And Reed was just barbing me the whole year, and I went, oh, now I get Reed.
Yeah.
From midway down the ladder, he was just like, I'm coming for you. I'm like, mate, you're 11 wins behind. Samson's 2 behind me. I'm scared of Samson.
Yeah, Vonnie's
Samson
coming.
knows a shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then Gabor came out. I didn't even know who Gabor was.
No.
And he was a threat because he was on Bulldogs while I was still like dissing Bulldogs.
Right.
I'm like, this is a fad.
You hadn't got it yet.
This is just one of those 2 wins Titans vibes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where you go, 2 wins Titans? No, we're back. We're back to regular. Yeah. But suddenly Dogs were the real deal. But yeah, Reed was barbering me from midway through and I went, oh, that's what he does. And I guess that's what I don't get is why rugby league is now run by journalists. You know what I mean? Because it used to be ex-players and lunatics like ourselves, but now it's the pen pushers who are now like, yeah, here I am talking about this game that I never played.
Well, it's got to be 360, right? When they invented 360, when Fox started to do the Fox League channel and started to really push it, they gave them a platform more than ever.
Yeah.
The ability to drive the narrative in a more eloquent manner than maybe a former rugby league player could as well. You know,
probably true, but does that mean maybe we should get them to play? Like,
I don't mind
to be experts, do we need to get the journalists in some kind of over 45s? Like, do we need to see what they've got?
Yeah, because I mean, like again, you know, none of us sitting here are athletes of note necessarily, but you see some of the journalists and they are criticising thoroughbreds, and you're like, geez, I would like to see your left to right catch pass. Like, I'd be interested just to see whether you can catch, let alone pass.
So you almost like getting your motorbike license, you know what I mean? You got to up to Terry Hills and like drive around cones. And
we just get it. We get them. It could almost be a combine because they're probably not going to play. We get them out there. We're just running around some cones. We've got a big fatty Vorton glory hole like the mouth where you pass the ball through. Like
that'd be nice,
you know.
But I tell you what about the motorbike license. They just want to give that to you.
Yeah.
Like,
mate. I did the course.
You're not leaving without it.
No.
And there was some guy, because I had to do it for a movie, a postie bike license. Yeah. And I saw some P plates given away to some dudes that couldn't. They couldn't go between the witches' hats.
And you're there.
They couldn't stop in the circle, one wheel in the circle.
Yeah.
You know, your front wheel has to stop.
Yes.
They were falling over into hedges. You know what I mean? Knocking over every witch's hat. And they went, that's around. You know,
pretty close.
I couldn't believe it. There was one person we did it with, and like with all due respect, she was a danger to herself and like would have been to others, to society. And they gave her hers. I'm like, you've got to be kidding.
And you go in for the quiz, and they're like 21 out of 30s. That'll be enough, and you get 11, and they go, come back in an hour. You get 14, come back in an hour. There you go. Just go. And then you're on your own on a Kawasaki, in the left lane.
Yeah.
I'm like, Jeremy's driving today? Like, this is not good.
Well, you drive home.
You drive home. You know what I mean? At least in the car, your stepdad's there.
Yeah. Exactly.
Going, just slow down. You know what I mean? But Jeremy's just stacked it into the hedge 4 times.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, the bright green Kawasaki with the B plate.
Get out of here, Jeremy.
Yeah,
Cheeky little thing. Enjoy your ride home.
That is totally out of whack. But it is interesting. But yeah, I don't pretend to be an expert on rugby league, but I did win the tipping comp, which I thought was good for me coming into promotion of Plum.
Huge.
If anyone goes, who the hell do you think?
How do you get on that? Like, I'd love for us to be even as a
I'd
duo.
fucking
How
love
the
to
fuck
be.
do you get on the like newspaper tipping? How do you find your way in there? Who picks it? Who's the gatekeeper of this
Probably
thing?
sort something out.
Do you reckon?
Well, as the former winner, like,
Well, we're part of the same alumni, aren't we? Like,
you mean Charles Sturt University?
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's alumni.
Yeah. Fuck
Yes.
And despite the Sharks Seagulls tension that lives underneath all our conversations, there is Bathurst, there is Charles Sturt.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There is a union.
Yes.
There is a union.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's why we can sit harmoniously together.
That's right.
in this triangle of connection because of that. And so that feels like family to me. And I got some email addresses. And also, you don't get anything for the win.
Do you not?
You don't get anything.
Just kudos.
Yeah,
and
clout.
They sent me a frame, Guns for Shire. They sent me a picture of Guns for Shire, the Cronulla team with me superimposed in the front. NRL tipping comp
Guns
winner.
for Shire.
Guns
That's
for
pretty good, though. I don't mind that
wasn't
as just an
bad.
award. Like, obviously, you might have expected money or a trophy or something, but like
Nice little play on words, huh?
glory,
Yeah, it was nice,
the
wasn't it?
glory of having it, and then like a nice little poster. I'm sort of.
But essentially
yeah.
what you're saying is that because you've won, you technically owed a favour.
You have some sway potentially.
I think they're indebted. Yeah. They're indebted to me, the DT. So I think I could go back to Super League Central and say, hey, maybe let's let Brent Reid go. Let's let a Prime Minister go.
Yeah.
Actually, I shouldn't talk about Prime Ministers. That's never gone well for me. Let's let a couple of those, peripheral fringies.
Yes.
Almost like the league should do. They should go into a second grade, don't you think?
You drop
And then-
out if you're in the bottom
drop
2,
out.
3, 4. Like you drop out.
I would really enjoy a promotion relegation.
And just
I'd
like
love it.
Our two faces
How
there.
good would it be?
Then we like it's almost like when a player's playing shit, they go, you got to go back to second grade, go and play the shitters, just get that winning feeling.
Learn
back
how to
again.
play rugby league again.
But get the winning feeling back
Yeah.
because you're the stench of losing is just all over your body. That's what
So
the
you go
Tigers need
play
to do. They need to go
Jets.
back, play the Jets, get some wins. Maybe they won't.
Tigers, Eels. Like if you're in the bottom 2 years in a row,
Yep. Off you go.
See ya.
and maybe also do some community work.
I think that'd be.
You know what I
nice.
mean?
Yeah.
To build character or something like that.
Because you have none.
Because you have
Right now, you have no character.
You've got no character.
Jets come in or Redcliffe lunatics come in because they won the Jets and then made the grand final.
Yeah.
Tigers, Titans out or Tigers, Eels out. They come in, they grab the stadium. I also think as we expand, we should reduce all Queensland, say the Queenslanders. There's 3 teams that just become one.
Just become one.
Sydney, the Sydney Waves, all the coastal teams.
Just come together.
Sydney Wave, go Waves.
Go Waves, up the waves.
When you're watching Storm Panthers, Storm Titans, these made-up words, Storm Dolphins, who are you supporting? Doesn't matter. After 3 or 4 years, you wouldn't give a shit where they're from. It's just Storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just Dolphins.
Into the storm.
They're from nowhere. So after 3 years of going, Sharks, Roosters and bloody Dragons are all Waves now. 3-4 years of pain, change. Suddenly you'd be like, go Waves.
Up the waves.
Up Waves.
Ride 'em waves.
And we're all packing out stadiums, just going, go Waves. Down to 12 teams. The Queenslanders or Queensland 4Xs or Maroons or
Two heads.
Pig Hunters or whatever they want to be called.
Tree
We're all,
sitters.
we're all Queenslanders.
The Queenslanders.
The Queensland Queenslanders.
We're all Queenslanders.
We're all Queenslanders, yeah. It was amazing. It was on radio the other day where Madge Maguire had become the Queensland coach.
Yeah.
And I think, what's his name, the guy that wrote the book of poetry, Warhorse, the front row forward for Queensland. And he comes on and he's like, they're getting rid of Kevy for that. And they're patting heels. And him.
Is it Webke?
Webke.
Yeah.
Warhorse.
Yeah.
And you could just, I love listening to Queensland sports radio because there's just so much anger.
Dude, so angry.
And they were like, losing Origin to New South Wales. Then that guy going, and I'm taking your job.
I'm taking you, mate.
It was just like,
oh, dude.
like,
We've been watching Gordy, who we
Melting
love.
down.
Gordy can
melting.
Yeah.
like in the face of just objective truth. Gordy's like, Kevy's got a better record. And you're like, but
Yeah.
how does that
Yeah.
even?
Better record, he reckons, than Madge. Madge won a comp.
How does that even make sense, Gordy?
Statistics lie.
Yeah, nah, it's
When
all
it comes to
bullshit,
and he bought his own shirt.
yeah, bought his
Bought his own shirt.
But he's like, well, the Broncos, they should have gone and they should have tried to get Bellamy. They should have tried to get Robson. You're like, they're all signed.
Yeah.
How's that going to
Oh,
work?
Bellamy's going somewhere, is he?
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Robson
It's
going
just as you know, the fabric of rugby league's changing from working class sport to high brand competition is just expanding. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And there's the working class players that are hanging on, going, hang on. We used to do road runs and have a ciggy in the ice bath
Yes.
and Cliff Lions.
Yeah, exactly.
What's bloody going on to me bloody sport?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, there's just Instagram, 700 teams,
Yeah.
Vegas,
Reece Walsh.
Reece Walsh.
money.
Yeah.
You know, female handbags
And painted nails. They don't know what to
painted
do.
nails.
Yep.
And there's these two sides of what makes rugby league great, just bewildered by the other.
It's true.
And Madge is probably the best guy to revitalise a lazy team,
yes.
isn't he?
Yes.
On it.
100%. Like we had Ben Teo on here, and he was just telling us old stories from their army camps he used to go on. Sound fucking brutal. Like he's a hard man, Madge. A really hard man.
Sounds
And he'll
like a
whip him into
psychopath.
shade.
Sounds like he's got a shelf life, though, in terms of he goes in there and it's like, listen, you probably got 3 years before the players are going to start fucking like hating you. And then, so try and get some results and then we'll send you
But I
off.
think they're aware of that. They just want to jag a couple of comps. One or
While
two.
they've still got some good players.
Well, he said that too. He said, I'm in a rush.
Yeah.
But have a listen to Webke on Pat and Heels. It's just pure
just
Queensland
goes, is it?
pain.
Yeah,
It's
that's
the
right.
essence of. Yeah.
I love it. Punters and Dribblers, we are brought to you by 4 Pines Japanese Lager, the best beer in town. I got to say, we had a great day on Sunday, grand final day. We had the sold-out event at the 4 Pines Truck Bar. Not the last event of the year that we'll be doing with our good friends at 4 Pines. Best believe.
Everyone was loving the Japanese lager.
Yeah.
Absolutely loving it.
Yep.
I haven't met anyone that doesn't like it.
No, it's really good
Seriously.
stuff. Now, you can obviously get it in 6-packs. They've got cases as well. So if you like a Japanese lager, you may as well. We got some cases.
We've got someone
If
set.
you're watching on YouTube, it's in the middle there.
Get a
your
case.
cases. Get your cases of 4 Pines Japanese lager. Hot, sweaty, glorious summer days coming up.
You need something that's going to refresh.
Yep.
And that's what Japanese lager does.
That's right. Shout out to 4 Pines. Congratulations on Plum. I'm 2 episodes down.
Oh, wow.
And it's just a thoroughly enjoyable show. It's funny, but it's tackling a very serious issue. Started from your book. When did you get the idea for it? How long ago did you write the book? When did you get the idea from it? I know you sent us the book, very kind.
Yeah. I just said, just read a page a day, and by the time
We're
I
still
see-
going.
Yeah,
We're
you're still
still-
going.
We're just chipping away.
Yeah, that's all right.
I'm a slow reader.
Yeah,
Slow
that's
reader.
all right. There's the audio book if you want 9.5 hours of me reading it.
Did
to
you do it?
I did it.
Because you got a very nice voice.
You do have a nice voice.
And that's not me sucking you off.
No,
it's
no.
just that's objective.
It's the alumni.
yeah, it's the alumni.
That's the alum.
If you're taking a 9.5 hour drive,
Yeah. That's
Plum audio book.
the audiobook's just more for me, my preferred mode of consuming books, to be honest.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I'm just
Yeah.
I get distracted real quick. I listen to podcasts all the time. I find it quite similar, really. You just sort of can sit there and sort of tune out.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
But how long did it take you to write? Like, where do you get the idea for it? And, you know.
It was the start of the pandemic, and I was meant to be going to New Zealand to film a bit more of Avatar. Early pandemic, no vaccine, like what's going on, vampire stuff.
End of the earth.
in Notting Hill, people are dying, and my girlfriend at the time left, and I got told it had been pushed 6 months, and I was in a basement flat with a mice problem, and I was like, and I was trying not to drink, and I was like, what am I going to do underground for 6 months on my own? And I can't hit the Sav Blancs at 11 a.m. Like, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had this idea of a footy player that is moonlighting as a poet, and he can't tell his mates that he's writing poetry. It's almost like a coming out story. And then my friend said, I think that's a novel, like it's literary. And I went, well, I got the time. So I started writing this book, and then I thought, why does he start writing poems? Why does he start expressing himself? Maybe his brain, something's happened to his brain. And I was reading about CTE's re-emergence into media. And because this has been around for a long time, people trying to get traction on head knocks. You know, it's not just 2019 when it re-entered here. So I just built that in about a guy dealing with, he'd had a seizure at the airport where he works, and ended up working as security at a weird bar. He met someone at the beach when he was pondering the darkness, and ends up working there, and they have a poetry night, and he ends up getting affected by these beautiful poems and all these weirdos. And he suddenly goes, well, I guess I've been a weirdo my whole life too, from my childhood onward. And so I thought, and then I thought about the plum, this kind of beautiful textured, fleshy, juicy fruit with a hard nut in the middle. And I thought, plum, Peter Lum, Peter the Plum Lum.
Such a great rugby league.
It's
like,
such a
name.
good-
It's such a
It's such a
great
good rugby
name.
league name.
Yeah, I mean, you've got Nigel, but just Lum.
Yeah.
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 Can't Lum. Like it's,
Lum,
yeah,
It's
Plum.
Lum.
good.
Carlum.
Can't Lum.
Carlum.
And Plummo, you know, what his mates call him. And,
Yeah.
and he, you know, Plum is that's his name and that's who he is. And it just started writing itself after that. It was beautiful. And I just wrote the book over 5 months in that flat. I wrote it for me. I'd been a bit disillusioned from writing. I hadn't had a lot of luck in TV in England, and I thought I want to write something. So I'll play to my strengths. I'll write about my two favourite things, rugby league and the written word.
Yep.
Love of language and love of league.
Yeah.
And it just,
What a
those two
beautiful-
contrasting things
Yeah.
worked well. The poetry, I mean, you guys know from your heritage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sport and language,
Yes.
sport and poetry just works so beautifully together.
And is it the first book you've written?
Second book.
Second book.
I had another book called How It Feels.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a darker, young man, angrier book about, youth suicide in Cronulla and creativity. And so that was the book I kind of had to get out. And then Plum was, something I'm really proud of. And then the ABC approached me,
Did they?
which is unheard of. Because I spend most of my life going around to your binges and Hulu's and Netflix going, oh, I'm so exciting.
Yeah,
You've got to listen
yeah,
to this.
Dance. I'll
This is
dance
the
for
best
you.
thing ever. And they're like, oh, yes, join the line of other artists telling me they've got the new Breaking Bad, you know.
Yeah,
And to have them go, we love the book, we think it'll make a great series. I thought, shit, I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
Like, we'll at least get to the top 8. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
so I just had to not stuff it up,
Yeah.
really, from there.
And so how did that process work in terms of stitching it all together?
Do you write the screenplay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I wrote 4 of 6.
Yep.
ABC said 6 episodes, finish it how the book finishes it,
Yep.
and you're playing Plum. And I went, oh, good casting.
Sick.
Hang on, I'm available.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hang on, yeah, absolutely
Yeah,
right. It's me or Matt Nable. I'm taking it, you know. And then I went, well, I've got to have Matt Nable in it somewhere.
Yeah. I was about to say,
Yeah.
And he's brilliant as the kind of James Hooper, Brent Reed guy
Yes.
in it. He, you know, and him being in the show gives it rugby league. Same with having Gal and Joey and everything. But yeah, you get stages of development. So you get stage 1 development, write 2 episodes, and they read that and they might go, do you know what? It's not what we're headed. They gave us another 2 episodes to write, and that's when I brought on Roadshow, because it was a proper production company, not my little film company. They're a big one that can make something, and they kind of then made it pretty real. And I'd had a chat with Asha Ketty, who did a cover quote.
She's
for the book.
great. She's so like she's always great, but I just was
She's particularly
she's very
good at this.
funny and like whatever it is, she's just fantastic. I just really enjoyed her.
Yeah, she kind of plays the nosy ex-wife, ex-wag.
Yes,
you
but she's
come
a
to
caught
realise
between these
she's got
two
a-
worlds. Like
Yeah.
she's still got leaguey in her.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
like trying to be this hoity-toity thing. Who sneaks around for a dart, or
Yeah, loves a dart, and we got her in some pretty horrendous kind of leopard skin, kind of waggy suburban outfits that, just to take it into the garish, And also she's had a kid. She's had postnatal depression. She's back on the rosés now, and she's like kind of reliving a bit of through the scandal of his brain injury. She's like, Renee's back, the Renaissance, and Asha loved it early and said, if Renee ever comes to fruition. And so when it was building, I went, by the way, I've got Asha Ketty. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah, me and Asha Ketty. And so she gave it that weight, that if Asha's on, then, things suddenly become a bit adult and real. But my mate Fiona Series, who I wrote Love My Way with, who wrote The Great, and we...
Did you write Love My Way? Fuck, I did not realise that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
There you go. That was Sam was in there, right?
Yeah. Sam
Yeah,
Parkinson.
yeah. I wrote... Well, I was one of the four writers.
Yeah, right. Jeez.
On the writing team. Yeah, it was my first TV writing job.
There you go.
And then I had to audition for the part of Tom that I'd kind of created. So, and apparently Foxtel didn't know that I was the writer when I auditioned. And so, that was a big break for me. But Fiona Series, who I wrote that, she wrote 2 of the 6. And she really helped condense this big epic book with lots of characters and into this very simple story about a footy player with a brain injury. Will he or won't he make it? Will he or won't he communicate with his kid and his girlfriend? And the kid's getting poached by the Storm. He's Harold Matz. He's, kind of a Galvin, Pappenhausen Galvin-y kind of frame, and he's about to pop as Peter Lum's going, shit, I don't know if this sport's good for you.
Yes.
His son's like, Dad, we're going to the Storm. And he's like, good, son. And it's that dilemma.
Yes. When you see the first, iteration of it on screen, does it, what's that experience like, from seeing what you had in your mind when you're writing it to then seeing it on screen? Like, I just loved the opening bit of it, just how it just, captured, rugby league in such a good way. I don't know, and I can't even exactly describe how, but there was just, there was such an authenticity to the vibe of the show.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Maybe not.
Probably jamming the salt under his nose. Fucking.
Well, there's the jamming the salt, but
Yeah.
even the song that starts playing, which I can't even remember.
It was Touched by Noiseworks.
Yeah. And it just it's just that whole thing, and there's the pictures of you as the former great and your past history and all this shit.
I was loving that. You lifting the shield shit. I'm like,
It must have been nice to have that little bit of a.
Well, that was the final shot of the shoot. Was this? We had about half an hour left to do the sheds of New South Wales Origin win.
Yeah.
In the SCG, and I got the blood on, and we had 20 extras. The beers and the whole filming of it, all the emotion of that, just came out.
Yeah.
For me, in that final shot.
Yeah.
Right, and it was, I imagine, like winning Origin because you finally got there.
Yes.
Something that you would never dreamt of ever happening, and you're man of the match and you're captain, and that's how it felt by the end. Was like, oh, fuck, I made a show, and I think it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
But we want often, rugby league has a big bullshit radar on it from being a working class game, and you can't make the shit up and you can't dance around it, and. So it was all about authenticity, which is probably why I got your Jimmy Grahams and Gals and Joeys and Joel Canes and stuff involved, was to bolster that, and your Matt Nables, to make this kind of fabric, the walls of it, really authentic. But it was also important in the cold open of episode 1 to show how it used to be, which is that great line that James Graham has, is when he says to the doctor, the only way he isn't going out there again is if he's fucking dead, which was a line that we heard from an English dressing room, a real line.
Oh, is that an actual? Is that a real line? Is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that was the old way. Like, give him this. He's out. This is a preliminary final. Get the fucking player out there.
Yeah.
Now. dang. And often these players that go out still concussed, lay on 3 tries, win a game, not remember a bloody thing. You know, and so we needed to say to the audience, this is what we're dealing with. This is the period in which the impact of what's about to happen. This was the old thinking. Now we're going to put you in the turning point, 2019.
Yeah.
Which is when that same 360 panel and those same journalists went from saying, it's a bloody contact sport, it's not ballet, they're going to get hit on the head, shut up, you know, to going, men's lives are more important. Let's put a doctor in the bunker. Let's have an HIA. And that was the shift, that 2019 area. So that's where we lay our scene.
Yeah.
So you've got that historic 80s, 90s thinking, smelling salts, get out there, to hang on a second. What's the priorities? And Trent Robertson, medically retiring blokes, going, that's more important that a man has this life with all his faculties, you know, and that shift is where we put the show.
It is quite confronting though, in that sense. So like it makes it real because it's in front of your face. Like you hear these stories about what's happened to old players, but you don't see it. Like because it's dramatized, you actually experience it almost. Like, do you expect there to be for this to sort of become, you know, part of the conversation again, to sort of just be in the media more about concussions and what the NRL is doing about it?
Yeah, I had no idea like this. I didn't know when I was writing the book in the Notting Hill basement that it would be made into a TV show that had come out at the end of 2024 and that it wouldn't just be a sports issue, it would be a global front page issue, which is what it is. You know, it's in all the papers about, you know, from soccer to UFC to and suicides in NFL and like and young players. And, you know, we just had that young Manly player who's the youngest we've had, Titmus, youngest we've had in Australia, 20 years old, stage 2. So I didn't know that it'd be so hot by the time this series I didn't know would be made would all kind of combine. And it's great for marketing and it's great for the discussion. But I guess where it leaves me is I'm an artist and I've made a piece about a man trying to change. I'm not a scientist. I've done all the research and I continue to do all the research. But when has discussion ever been a bad thing? And NRL, I think, and all the leagues and all the codes need to not only have a relationship with the information, but an ongoing relationship with the information, and not just doctors that work for the codes and work for the teams, but independent doctors who think outside the codes, who aren't, like in that first scene, tied to the club.
Yes.
Or have a relationship with the NRL. You know what I mean? Let's have outside thinking. What are they thinking? What are they saying? What are they finding from America? You know what I mean? And I guess that would be my proposal. I don't want rugby league to ever end.
No.
And so maybe you do have to lose a kickoff. Maybe you do have to go, if you hit a man on the head, you're gone. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it? Because you kind of, there has to obviously be some understanding that you're entering into a job that is dangerous, and there's going to be some chance that you're going to fuck yourself up long term, whilst also not just allowing free reign of, you know, head highs and whatever. It's funny though as well, right? When you're talking about like the discussion and then the changing attitudes, but then Phil Gould was, I'm pretty sure this year, was very confidently speaking on like 100% footy or something, going like, I've got my own independent doctor in here and I'm pretty sure that it's overblown.
Yeah.
The evidence of concussion. You're like, shit, dude. Like, now obviously if that's what your research is telling you, that's fine. But just still, even now with like the overwhelming evidence to suggest the contrary, there's still people kind of ardently going the other way. What was it like having the like sort of the current NRL heads, you James Graham's and Joey's, involved in something that is directly affecting either them or friends or people they know? Like, was there, I imagine that adds another layer of emotion to their own experience trying to do this or engaging with the subject matter.
Yeah, I thought it'd be more uncomfortable than it was. Yeah. And if anything, they were very forthcoming and wanting to be involved. And the responses I've got from Jimmy and Joey from watching it are just like really positive and supportive and wanting this story to be told. And I wonder if there's a catharsis involved with, you know, when I was writing the book, Andrew used to call me, like, be driving from Brisbane to the Gold Coast for Magic Round, and he'd just call me for 2 hours driving and just tell me stories. And Jimmy Graham, who is been brilliant in the way that he's open to the fact his conversation is shifting and his ideas of it are shifting. And he's like, yeah, I've changed my opinion. And I stole that brilliant line of his in episode 6. Plum uses his line, I privileged the present. And Jimmy always said, I knew what I was getting myself into.
Yeah.
Especially the way he played.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which was probably one of the toughest ever seen. Same with your Spartan, you know, fearless.
Yes.
He knew what he was getting himself into, but a lot of those players were saved from rugby league, saved from a life in the mines or a tough area with some bad kids around. Rugby league gives so many kids in unfortunate circumstances a lifeline, you know what I mean, all over the world. And so they give themselves to this game and it gives them a life. And Jimmy's been amazingly erudite about the complication of it and the complexity of head knocks in rugby league. And, you know, we're not that good in society these days of dealing with stuff that's muddy and grey. We like to hate things and love things.
Yeah.
We like to have strong opinions on what's wrong and right. And Plum and Concussion is muddy and grey. So let's just chat about it. You know what I mean? So that we can get kids playing rugby league and the sport can go on forever. But really it's about, you know, what Plum needs to do, the codes need to do, which is acknowledge it and discuss it, share it.
Yeah.
So it's that Shakespearean layering. What the codes needs to do, the man needs to do for his own health, you know?
You strike me as a proud Australian who likes this, who's interested in sort of the subtlety of the Australian way, and I like the way that it's filmed and the way that you sort of get that across, like the opening scene where you're training with your son down in the park, but then you're like in the pool and you're just sitting on the couch together and you're wet swimmers. I'm like, that's Australia. I like that shit. Or where you go down to the local club, and you're doing the trivia, and it's just like a couple of people sitting around like yelling shit out. I'm like, it's so the Corpy
was perfect,
but
like
it's not a dazzling Corpy. It's not a dazzling
That's why I
Corpy.
loved it.
And
Was
he's
not
down
dazzling.
there pounding the Bain Marie, and he's like fucking just had a couple of
The echo in the room of the Corpy was like perfect. It was there was enough people there, but there was also no one there.
But no one there.
And Merrick's the guy fucking doing it. It was great.
But I fucking love that shit. Like,
thank you.
Were you frothing when you saw the way it came together?
Yeah, and I think I was pushing all the departments to keep that.
Yeah.
You know, and I was very much their way into that world of like casting extras and music and costume and everything. I was like, I just gave them so many what it shouldn't be's. I'm not so good at what things should be, but I'm very good at what they can't be. And so within that, all the departments from costume to art design, you know, and just the Photoshop montage behind his head. It's just kind of shit stills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like,
It's so good.
it's the reality of it. And of course he's going to shove seven skewers down his mouth. His wife just made 2 salads. So he's like, fucking 8 skewers. Let's rip, you know? And we've lost the glint in the eye in Australian storytelling. We've got too earnest. We're either into the murder dramas or we're into, you know what I mean? And we're famous for a bit of, you know, the cheek and that period of, man, they're fucking cheeky. They get away with murder. And I wanted to bring that kind of little bit of wink, you know, back to Aussie screens because that's who we are.
And you can, you could fuck that up by trying too hard to make it look a certain way.
100%.
Just to the point, like you can go too hard one way, or it can, you know, you can see those shows that are on, you know, just, I mean, that's not period, but like of certain 90s-esque or and you can see it and go like, this is so overdone.
They're overdoing
Everything's
it. There's
overdone.
BMXs everywhere and Billabong fucking ice creams. And they're like, oh, guess
it's
what?
just so over the top.
That's right. And this was less is more. That's all we said, less is more. The walls in the bedrooms basically empty, but there might be a canoe in the hallway or something. You know what I mean? The art is from Miranda Shopping Centre that they got with the couch, and they're not going to galleries in town. You know what I mean? It's mostly bare walls. The computer room's in the kitchen. You know what I mean? And some rusted weights on the lawn next to the pool. You know what I mean? And also getting that slow time, which is what I was talking to the actors about, is just they're a little bit more present and they're in less of a rush. And, I was down there a couple of weeks ago watching Sharks lose to – who did we lose to in that first final? And just the ability to sit around a table with – lots of kids and a couple of grandmas and stuff, and there's no rush, and you have a chat for 2 hours and jump in the pool, and they've bought some, and there's something spinning on the rotisserie, and there's just slow time, beautiful slow time, and the ability to really listen. And I tried to get that with Peter Lum, just a little more pause, a little more breath, and just a little more present in nature on the back deck as well, just that pace.
Not distracted. These days, it's everything's distracted. You're distracted by something. You're thinking about something else. There's something going on. There's 50 million screens. There is reminds me of childhood to be a little bit where everything was just
so beautiful,
quieter and just more.
70% of Australians live in the suburbs.
Yeah.
So why don't we make more stories about it?
Suburb stuff.
You know what I mean? So I wanted to talk about the extraordinary lives of the ordinary man.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And that's something, that was my upbringing. So, I'm proud of that feedback that I think the network really loved as well. Was this feels like a show that's a love letter to the suburbs and finally giving them a voice that is, accurate to what life's like.
Yes, exactly right. It feels real. I noticed so many things. I'm like, oh, yep.
And those four boys in the tavern,
yeah,
you can just mark in taverns down the coast.
100%.
Like those ex-players.
But that's
Tuesday
hard to get
Arvo.
right. It's hard to get right because usually they'll fuck that, Roy. Like, they'll just go into, over-the-top tropes.
Yeah.
To convey it, where it doesn't need to be anything more than fucking when you get your beer and you go, ask for water, you have 80% water. There's water in that, isn't there, mate? Yeah, good.
And then Britt goes, I'm probably... Actually, my marriage is on the way out, and everyone just goes quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And he's like, anyway, so, and it's like, you know what I mean? As soon as one guy brings up a big
Something
thing,
serious,
it's just
fuck that.
Let's get back to the other shit.
Yeah, that's not what we're here for.
Yeah.
I don't know the guy's name, but I used to fucking love the Flight of the Conchords, and with our old mate, what's his name? Who's
Jemaine Clement.
Jemaine, that's it. He's fucking hilarious generally, and I just haven't seen. I know he's been in plenty of stuff, and I just haven't got to enjoy him for a long time. And the scene, I think it was maybe in the first or second episode, but when you guys are in the bathroom together, and he's he's kind of, you can tell he kind of looks up to you, even though he's now fucking your ex-wife, and he's still trying to help you out and ask you questions, and you're just
how's your flow and shit?
How's your flow?
How's the plumbing?
How's the plumbing?
I flush, and he goes, no,
men around this age.
Men around this age, yeah.
But how do you? Is he someone that's difficult to get on the show, or is he? Is that do you have a relationship with him? And
yeah, he'd be very difficult to get on. From filming Avatar in Wellington, because he's my offsider in Avatar.
I haven't seen Avatar 2. Sorry, everyone.
I felt that from the question.
Well, there you go.
And
you picked up on that.
Films 2 and 3, I'm the intrepid pirate, kill everything, make money, and he's the kind of conscientious scientist going, well, absolutely, but the ramifications, the humanitarian ramifications, he's got a conscience, I don't.
Okay.
So we have that relationship, and because I spent 6 years there on and off.
Is that how long you were there for?
Yeah, well, I auditioned when I was 41, filmed 42, I'm 48 now, I just finished.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. It's a long time to only be in about 40 minutes of 2 movies, yeah. We filmed Plum 6 episodes in 7 weeks, or 8 weeks. God bless Australian television. You know, the crew's just running with lights the whole time, trying to set up. Oh, there was a point in Plum where I was in 3 scenes at once. You know, we were getting a shot in the fridge. I was doing a pool scene, running over there, going,
Really?
fuck, mate.
So that's good as good old-fashioned Australian efficiency, mate. That's what that
mate.
is.
We were like that in the war, weren't we? Yeah. We're like, we need a blood transfusion. Let's use a bike tyre. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we were like.
Yeah.
And it comes into our filmmaking. The crew are unbelievable. Drew English, the DOP, and all of them is formidable. But Jemaine and I became mates in Wellington. I was lonely as shit, man, and especially in the pandemic. And with those big films, you do 3 weeks, and then they're like, we won't need you for 4 months. And you're like, okay. But I couldn't go home. You know, and also you can't go snowboarding in Queenstown because, you know, so you got to... So after you've had your single filter Ethiopian coffee and bought another pair of shoes, you're like, what the fuck do I do today? You know, like... And that was it for months. Yeah. How many hikes, 12-hour hikes can I go on to try to find an extinct bird or something, you know? Like, so we were jamming and going to the gym. We went to this CrossFit gym that was out of our depth and, together, and... He's just a beautiful man. Yeah. He's just one of the great dudes, and without making a big deal of it, just said, come for dinner and you hang with us and his family. And I was basically hung out with him nearly every day, and he's a lot like he is in that show. You know, he's just kind of a gentle, hilarious man. But when you get him on, and I remember seeing him in London. We were riding bikes around London. He was over there for a gig, and I was living there, and I said, mate, I think I've got the show up. And I said, oh, maybe you should play the guy that's thinking of transitioning, that runs the poetry club. He goes, oh, I don't think I'm a good enough actor to do that. And I went, and he goes, but what about the ex-wife's new husband? And I went, oh, yeah, Oliver. And he's like, because I could be like trying to match it with Plum, you know? And then he just says in the cafe, he goes, I could say to Plum, you know, sometimes Plum, when I'm having sex with Renee, I think of you. And he goes, not in a sexual way. It's just you're her previous lover. And I don't know if I should be doing the New Zealand accent. Anyway, and I was like, can I write that in to the show? And you have to say it now. And I sent him a screenshot of the script, and I went, this is in now. And it just gave this new level to the relationship. Yeah. And eventually we got a hold of his agent in America, a big deal agent, and I just called him and said, mate, it's Christmas, like we're shooting in January, you know, and he goes, yeah, I'm in. And came over for 2 weeks, and it was similar to Asher. It just went, I was like, holy shit, you know, and he ad-libs so much. He does my job. He's a smart storyteller. He knows where the story beats are, but he just makes shit up. And most of the time, Asher and I were just like, you know, just like,
try not to laugh.
Because I've got a brain injury, it's serious drama, and I'm sitting there going, you know, just trying to hold it in. And so I wrote this scene where he goes to pick up, because there's press on the lawn. There's media on the lawn because I've hit a bloke in a pub and all this stuff, and it's getting Daily Telegraphed out of control. So I start staying at the ex-wife's house, and now I send him to get me a bag of clothes. And he goes into Plum's house and he starts impersonating Plum throughout the whole house. And I watch the Rushes. It's some of the funniest shit. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm Peter Lum. He used to play for the Melbourne Bunyips. And, oh, bloody ripper. And, oh, g'day, Charmaine. And so we just let him go. Yeah. And then Gavin comes in, he goes, oh, it's David Campisi. Like this, like... Anyway, I'm doing a terrible version of cut all that out. I just love him. I couldn't believe he was on my show, and he took it up to another level, and sometimes way too funny. Too funny.
It must be fun getting to, I mean, you know, you're obviously, it was like you're playing a serious character, but like being able to act across from someone like that, like an ad-lib guy, just someone who's funny as fuck, just going for it, like not knowing where they're going to take your ideas, and just these weird veins they can sort of go off on. And Flight of the Conchords was so fucking funny when they first came out. Like I just remember being in high school and shit and just like pounding Flight of the Conchords, but like just being able to see someone like that go for it.
And what was great is that I knew the straighter I was, the funnier it was.
Yeah.
So it gave me, I didn't have to rise and think of something funny. I just kind of had to look at him like you're fucking, like you said, you're fucking my ex-wife. Like Plum can't deal with the ex's new bloke.
Yeah.
No.
He's not evolved. He's not evolved to go, yeah, let's go. Because he's like, we should go for a craft beer. And Plum's like, absolutely not. There will never be a day first of all, craft beer.
Yes.
You know, and he's definitely a Waratahs guy.
Yeah,
you know, there's never, you know what I mean? And he's not going to be evolved.
No.
But through the story, he starts to realise not only is the ex-wife on his side, but so is this bloke. And he has a slightly spectrum-y doctor thing where he'll go, you know, he says to Renee, like, he could die. You know, and he doesn't really realise what he should and shouldn't say. Yes. But he cares about Plum, but he does want to be one of the boys, which is what makes it so comic. But, yeah, I'm really indebted to him because it just kind of made our show a little bit kind of, more special. And he adds something so, a beautiful ingredient to it.
For sure. Again, like that, a nice amount of levity in a what is an intense fucking storyline.
Yeah, but isn't that Australian life, right?
100%.
That's
exactly.
how we deal with
it's the reality of the world as well. When some things are fucked up, like there's still always that element. Punters and Dribblers, we are brought to you by our good friends at Ned's. You know them, you love them, we know them, we love them. And yeah, the rugby league season's done. Sure, it is. No more same game multis, although there is some internationals coming up. But what we do have is pony season.
It's pony season. It's time to put your silks on, as it were.
Correct.
Put the silks on and start whipping home ponies because we've come into the spring season.
Yep.
Like, the amount of great races coming up is sickening. You've got the Everest, you've got the Melbourne Cup, you've got the Cox Plate, a favourite of mine, you've got the Caulfield Cup. It's all ahead of us.
Yep.
It's all coming up, Golden Eagle.
Big dance.
Big dance. It's all happening. It's all ahead of us. Come on there and whip home ponies with us. And dogs.
Shout out to Neds. Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on screen or visit the website. To what you were saying before as well, just around like you hear about players that have concussions and all that, but you don't necessarily see it. And the way it was depicted was I found myself it was a very intense watch, like in terms of some of the things, like the seizure scene and just the ones where you're sort of seeing how it's manifesting. Obviously, it's not necessarily exactly the experience of someone, but just not even the idea of truly trying to conceptualize what some of these players are going through in their day-to-day life and how they're just snapping in and out of these moments and how they can just completely go off. Or, you know, like when he fucking leaves the game, his son's game, and it's just sort of... It's very good, and I can't wait to watch the rest of it. When does it come out? When's it officially on?
October 20, 8:30 p.m. on ABC iView, and
huge.
They're dropping it all. You know.
Oh, really?
They drop it all.
Great.
Perfect.
I love that.
Well, that's the way of the world now. Drop
Isn't
it
it?
all on me.
Just drop it all.
Don't wait me wait.
You're kind of like, fuck, that was 5 years of my life.
Yeah.
Okay, but fuck, man, that's how. So you could have watched the whole season by 2:30 in the morning if you want, you know.
Yeah.
But fucking great. That's where they get all their traffic is on the iView.
Yes.
Yep. Oh, that's where I watch my ABC. Certainly.
I think you could go 1970s and watch it every Sunday night, and it'll do that.
Yes.
Or you can go 2024 and just
pound it all.
Just pound it.
Although Netflix recently have started doing like half a season.
Is this with Emily in Paris season 12?
Correct.
Correct.
Emily in Paris. Fucking, they did 4 episodes, and then now we're waiting for the next 4. It's
Slow Horses is once a week. That's on Apple.
The other one my wife watches.
Right. Well, it's in the title, isn't it?
Yes.
That's a good point.
Exactly right.
But so I don't understand though when shows do that and then they don't. Like initially when Netflix started, it was like, this is great. I can now just fucking pound every single episode. But then now they're doing half and half on some things, and then like ABC,
I would have loved it, but also it's just that attention span thing. Like, how do you keep them and not lose them? You know, I've learned a lot about that being a producer on this show, and about how episode 3, the first 10 minutes of episode 3 is a really crucial part where people will then go to the end.
Is that right?
The first 5 minutes of your show, you've got to show a firm hand that you know your show and hold the audience. But then 3 is where usually people make a decision whether they'll see out 6 or 8 or dump it. You know
Is that right?
Yeah, so all that kind of stuff. But you can't make a show to hold people because then you're just going highlights.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sex scene, sports, concussion, like.
Well, you got your
So you
ass
got
out
that
nice
in.
and early.
Yeah.
What's that?
You got your ass out.
I
in the
wanted
first
to
couple of
ask,
minutes.
was that
Is that a stunt bum?
you find that hard to film?
Well, the
like
ABC
it's not-
audience is women in their 70s, and I just thought, give them what they want.
Yeah, that's right.
They want to see
Give
Lum
it-
on the job,
They want to see cow.
getting one away.
Yeah.
My mum always said, you don't have a bum, son. You know, it's flat. So apparently...
Listen, I think your mum's been harsh. I think,
Yeah.
I think it's juicier than a lot.
I saw passion out there. That's what I saw. I saw some hallway work, and I saw a lot of grunting and groaning. That's what I saw.
Is that uncomfortable, the sex scene? It must be fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, it is. And you're just always very conscious of the female because I think it's more difficult for women. Those, you know, and it's mostly a male crew and all that sort of thing. So I'm just always trying to make sure that every, you know, and these days you have an intimacy coordinator, and we had a fantastic intimacy coordinator, and they help you be creative within the limitations of what everybody is willing to do.
Yep.
Whereas, you know, some of the shows I was on 20 years ago, they go, you guys go into the cold room, have a crack, come back, show us what you got, and we'll film it.
So it's like going and practice.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And,
Really?
Oh, yeah. And it was like, and this person's a third show, or, you know, you've never done a show this big. This is the biggest scene, you know, and or you'd rehearse in front of the crew for the first time. And
Fucking hell.
It wasn't insensitive. It was just kind of like all that we knew.
Yes.
All that they
Yes.
knew.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so a lot of those early ones I did, I was like, and now you work with this intimacy coordinator individually, and you go, I'm willing to do this and that. I don't want to do this. And then you come together. She knows what you're both comfortable with. And then you go through the story of the scene. Like, what are we actually trying to convey? Other than we will be taking items of clothing off.
Yes.
Where is this couple at in their love story? What do we want the audience to have learnt by the end? Is there attention? And, you know, at the end of that sex scene between Jemaine and Plum, you see that he's forgotten a crucial rule of their relationship.
Yes. A big one.
A big one. So it's a drama scene.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With passion in it. So that's, if you connect that to it. And also I wanted to show that Plum and Charmaine's relationship is physical. You know what I mean? They're passionate people, and she talks passionately about food. He's passionate about sport and nature. And so they meet physically. Like, they're a very physical couple. They sleep in the nude and, you know, all that kind of stuff like that. They're really into each other.
Yeah.
So I wanted to show that, but then there's a twist to it. It becomes about something when you realise Plum's forgotten their number one rule.
Golden rule. Important rule. Huge rule.
Redfern.
Getting off at Redfern, which is something my grandmother taught me when I was very
I'd never
young.
heard that saying before. I liked it.
I liked it.
My nan had 7 kids, so clearly, clearly
No Redfern.
chats would chase. You know, like, getting off at Redfern, which is, I believe, the pull-out method.
I believe
I
so.
believe that's what it is.
Well, it's the station before Central,
Central,
so I think the idea is that you maybe get off before you drop one in there. You know,
Makes
so
sense.
That's what I took.
Nan was onto something.
Yeah.
Nan was onto something.
But it's they're always good when they're over, and you know, you just try to make sure everyone's these days. And I love the intimacy coordinator thing because you get to make a really great scene, and everyone's fucking happy with what's.
And there's more consideration to it.
Everyone is happy with what's happening on the day, and you construct around it. Limitations is creativity.
Yeah.
You know, if you embrace what you can and can't do in any moment. Oh, we've only got an hour. We've got this room. We've got this. You know, that's when you really start. So I think it's great.
Has the this process, obviously the success it's had to date, like, has it sparked more creativity? Have you started like working on other things? I love when people just start, like, they just finish something and people are like, what now, bro?
What's next?
What's next for Brendan Cowell? I'll probably leave Cronulla and rugby league alone for a little while. I'm starting to think, God, am I going to make rugby league dramas forever?
Well,
you know?
do a 2016 Premiership story.
What do you think of the great untold rugby league tales? What should I make next?
You could do one around the porch light, mate.
Julian
you know,
O'Neill,
the
the porch light, poo in a shoe.
Yeah, poo in a shoe. Super
Super League,
Super
mini
League.
series,
Yeah.
Yeah, bubbler, all that sort of stuff.
bubbler. It's better than Lego.
It's better than Lego.
There's a
And,
lot you can do.
There's a lot in there, isn't there? No, I just finished writing my third novel actually while I was doing post production. I was just like, I didn't know what else to do after Plum. It was such a drop off. I thought I was going to go mad, you know, because I gave it everything for 6 months, and so I just wrote another book. And also, when you don't drink, you've got all this time and energy, and you just go mad.
Yeah.
Because I used to just spend that out, you know, smashing it out on King Street, you know, and now I'm like 6:30 in the morning. What the fuck do I do now? So I wrote another book. I'm developing a couple of TV shows and just doing my thing. But I've been doing that, you know, since I put on a play at the Old Fitz in 2000.
Yeah.
I'm always just
Doing that.
trying to get something going.
Yeah. Do you have you now that you've done this with the ABC and, you know, again it's being received well, does that give you more cachet with them now, or is it just a bit like, okay, that was good, and like, or would you be able to sort of go back to them with like, here's another idea I've got?
Well, we'll see in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
You know, and I've got a couple of ideas ready in case people go, he should do that again. You know what I mean? But I'm a big boy now. Like, I've been around long enough I've had a few times where people have blown some serious smoke up my ass and said, you have no idea what's about to happen to you, Brendan.
Okay, right.
And I'm like, fuck, I think you're right. Like,
Yeah.
you know, this is...
You buy into it.
Yeah, oh, mate. You know, so I've been here a few times where you're on a bit of a winner and you're starting to go, fuck, I think... And all you can
I think I might buy a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Silly.
You've got a beautiful waterfront down there, though.
Well, I wonder if the Storm suffered a bit from that. I saw them doing podcasts and looking a bit happy, and I'm like, I feel like they might have thought they had this one done.
Yeah.
All you can do is enjoy the experience. It was the same with, would Avatar change my career? I get to spend a few years with James Cameron.
Yeah.
That's it. You know what I mean? What will Plum do? Will I be a showrunner again? I'd fucking love it. I learned so much. The show's very detailed. It could have been more detailed. I wish I could go back and remake it. I'm so proud of it.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love another crack. I'd love to make another show. I'm good at it. I'm good at communicating with the departments.
Yeah.
I'm good at collaborating, bringing everyone together. I'm good at listening and driving it forward. I'd love another go. But it's so hard to get a show made. Even when the ABC wanted to do it from the start, the two women that commissioned it left the ABC. We had to reconvince the new guys. Then Screen Australia come in going, what's this show about footy? People in Melbourne watch it? As they love AFL. What? Why? White guy with a headache? You know what I mean? And so it's so hard to get it made.
Yeah.
That I just got to be grateful that I got one.
You got it. Yeah.
I got one out there.
You got one
and,
out, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I just hope it connects and people love it. But, geez, yeah, I've got another idea for a show, which is based on my grandmother. She had there's 23 grandkids, and she had a competition at Christmas called Grandchild of the Year. And started off with just a GOTY hat.
Yeah.
And then there was a little trophy. Then there was a big trophy with and then cousins started to get a little bit fucking competitive.
Yeah.
And be like, I'm actually working in an orphanage at the moment.
Yeah.
And other people will be like, well, I'm having this babe and this wedding and Nan's coming, and we'd be turning up at Nan's with a fruit bowl, taking her to the eye doctor. And
Quite smart from that.
Genius from Nan.
It's genius from Nan, because I think she started to sense she was a bit less relevant.
Yes.
You know, we don't need as much Nan in our lives. And she's like, you will now.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a
see
comedy about
that.
a family trying to win Nan. Win Nan's affection.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's
fun.
good.
Yeah.
You've also, in your free time, you've come up with a few rules.
yeah.
A few rule changes for the NRL.
Well, I just thought I'd take this opportunity with the alumni and with the great minds.
Yeah.
I first of all just wanted to talk about shorts on podcasts.
Yep.
So much, I'm watching a lot of male podcasts, and we're all in trousers today because it's chilly. But I just wanted to let you guys know, I don't know if you know, but watching the podcast now, everyone used to say he's got a face for radio. Well, now you have to have a face for radio, don't you? Because it's all
everything's
video. Yeah. But there's so much
Nut stuff.
There's a lot. Yeah. We have it. There's a lot of that here as well.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
And I just wanted to bring it up.
No,
Is that a framing issue or?
listen, it's also not a rugby league rule. But it's a good point. Well, it's not a rule. It's not a rugby league rule change as such, but it's certainly.
No, I just before I went into the rules, I just wanted to bring up, like when I get on a plane and I look next to me and there's a bloke in small shorts, I'm like, I've got 6 hours with this bloke's legs.
Yeah.
In between me and watching, Curb Your Enthusiasm, there's all this thigh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hairy, pimply
Pimply thigh.
That I have
and
to
with the
directly
podcast, I just feel like I'm getting Mike
Yeah.
and potatoes and sausages.
You
And,
are. No, but listen, it's a fair point.
It's reasonable.
No, it's not reasonable. It's fair because often, like, I'll see, like, YouTube or like a clip from something, and I'll be like,
Yeah.
I'm
Nuts.
showing off a lot of leg. And when you're sitting here, it actually, like, you actually need to wear shorts that would regularly sit below the knee to have that then ride up to just being a normal.
Because they ride up.
But
That's
these
the
are-
problem.
they
ride up.
ride all the way up.
Your asshole chews them up, but then it's like you forgot that. Is it Sharon Stone every time you're trying to cross your legs? And
Yeah.
it's just the big ball sack.
Well, I can't
something
remember
to be
a brand.
aware of.
No, I appreciate
A
that.
brand we worked with, we sent them footage for something I can't quite recall, and they couldn't really use me because it was I was too nutty.
Yeah, and you'll
they were
sometimes
like,
get.
there's a surplus of nut.
He'll get a little bit leg up on the
It
side.
wasn't. It
sometimes.
wasn't family friendly.
No.
I did want to say I'm really loving this vitamin water.
Oh, thank
Thank
you
you very much.
As I
Appreciate
said
that.
before, these are the only powders I involve myself with these days.
Which
These
is-
lovely
that's it.
vitamin powders, 1 bag a day.
That's it. It's the
Beautiful.
only bag
Gets
you
you
should be
going,
doing.
gets
It's
you
the only
chatty.
bags you should be doing.
That's right.
Right.
And the nighttime tea bag. That's the second
Yeah,
bag
that's
of
true.
the day.
If you want to double up.
What about one bite a game? So we had an alleged bite in the grand final.
We did.
Yeah.
I liked it a little bit. Could you, like a captain's challenge, say one bloke can bite one bloke a game?
So we can, yeah, okay, we're going to, and I mean, I guess we need to work out, is there grading? Are we going to have grading on bites? Because, like, there's just, like, a tooth mark, and then there's a breaking the skin, and then there's a pound of flesh taken, like.
What about 3 seconds? So go for your life.
Okay, that's all right.
Mouth gut in.
Yeah, so you're only going to fuck up. You're only getting one row of teeth that's going to get
One row of teeth in, one bite.
And the bottoms of they don't pack the punch the top teeth do.
Well, I actually would argue maybe that it's the bottom part of the jaw where the power is generated.
Power generated from top, impact from bottom, impact from top.
Yeah.
With the mouth guard, that's both.
No, but mouth guard's just top.
Just top. So
So
these ones aren't as sharp.
Listen, the canines can fucking get some damage done. They're just these two pointy bastards. But
Geez, add some spice though, wouldn't it?
no, it would.
Oh shit! Yeah, they've used their bite.
Yeah,
they've used their bite.
They use their bite.
Yeah, bite.
Sponsored by.
Yeah.
You know what I
Sponsored
mean?
by Colgate.
Yeah.
Okay, exactly.
Oh, geez, I got that bite out of the way early. You might want to hang on to that.
And then
Geez,
you could have an
usually hold your
NFL
bite.
style, like, dedicated biter
Well,
that
yeah,
comes
right.
on, just a guy that comes on 10 minutes to go in the first half. They brought their biter on.
They've
you know,
bitten
like that hockey guy that just smashes
Goon,
it.
I think it is.
Yeah.
They've bitten Nathan's thumb. He's not going to be able to grip the ball
Yeah,
very
yeah,
well.
exactly.
That's
Then you
gonna
got bite
affect-
cam. You got great biters down there running it over what they can see.
Yeah, I like
It's
it.
just another thing to toss around.
Something to think about.
One NRLW player on the bench.
Listen,
That'd keep things very
it'd keep things interesting. It'd keep things very interesting. And I mean, they have to play a certain amount of minutes
You got to bring them on at some
at
stage.
some point.
It's up to you. And then you watch what the male players do. You get to see the full extent of the NRLW player.
You're
or maybe
promoting the
one of the
game.
Fox sisters. But an NRLW, yeah, it's another thing
Listen,
to toss around.
I am concerned about the well-being of the NRLW player were you to get like a Liam Martin, off the back fence.
Yep. Well, I
Kick
mean, but
pressure.
but it's the end of the game. You know what I mean? Tired bodies.
Forwards, tired bodies.
I don't think you don't throw them. You're not throwing them in for the first set.
You might.
Players also, male players distracted.
Well, there you go. Yeah. Or again, maybe just not knowing how to handle it. Like what morally should I
Exciting.
do here? Yeah.
Exciting.
It's a curveball.
NRLW plus a bot, plus one bot.
Both of these rule changes so far, I will admit, would add something to the entertainment factor.
Certainly.
In the bunker, you watch the replay at double speed
Yes.
instead of half
Now
speed.
that's a good. You should be watching it like. Yeah.
What is the drop?
Completely. No, I'm.
Yeah. What?
Did you think that was a try in the Storm?
No,
I didn't.
No.
I've seen another angle. It
there's an
definitely
angle.
wasn't.
It's just
The one
gone
he-
full
Tom showed me.
conspiracy. hasn't
No,
it?
there's an angle where there is one angle where you're like, that looks like a try, but I think what we are, the Jack Howarth too white, so his arm is white as the football, at least in this image.
See, I didn't realise that Jack Howarth's arm in that image was that white. But then when you see the other angle, which comes from the other side, you're like, well, that's nowhere near the ground.
Yeah, his full forearm is under the ball. The-
So he has a Steeden-coloured arm.
well, certainly, like when you look at like the top of a
Is that
forearm,
right?
yeah,
Because everyone was like, "That's ball." And people went, "That's arm."
Yeah.
Is his arm Steeden-coloured?
Steeden White.
Yeah, and it's got
Steeden
dimples
White.
on it too.
Yeah, Steeden White for Jack Howarth's forearm. At least the underside is. But it was
Mate,
it was
that quacks like a try to me. I'm like, I'm sure that thing hit grass.
Yeah.
At a core.
yeah, at a core. Great stadium.
And I heard you guys monologuing about a core in your season roundup, and I took Mum out there to get the P1 park. So we were a couple of hours early,
You got to be
Yeah,
for the
you
P1.
gotta be.
You got to
For
be
the
for
P1.
P1.
yeah.
and the stadium wasn't open. When we were out there at 5. It opens at
great.
6:20.
You just gotta sit under a gum tree for
It's
fucking
just
4
this
hours.
fucking barren cement landscape.
Yeah.
I can't take an 80-year-old woman into any of the venues because Jeremy and Jeff and Phil have just been on the amber canoes all day. Like,
Yeah.
where do you take? There was an African food and music festival. We went over there for an hour. But it is a barren and confusing landscape,
Oh,
isn't it?
mate, it's
It's
we were out
fucking
there
gr-
again
it's grim out
yesterday.
there. It
I'm
really
just
is.
there's nothing. I don't even get it. And there's people living out there in apartments, and I'm like, I don't even understand. Like, that it doesn't feel like
Anyone's living here.
it doesn't feel like anyone's living here. It feels like a ghost town.
That's similar at Shark Park. They got the Quest apartments up there.
Oh yeah, they relatively new those.
They've only just had inhabitants.
Yeah,
But you can imagine, like, Nico's coming in to kick one from the sideline. A guy's watching Shrek in his undies, eating Fruit Loops, like, in there, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
you're like, how's this
What
match
is
up?
going on?
Like, it's pretty fucking weird.
It is weird.
They could be having all sorts of things going on.
Can you see the crowd? Like, would you be able to see the full game from those apartments?
Yeah.
They're already on the balconies and stuff, but they got the TVs on and everything, and
You
it's
just
very intense.
Yeah,
It's basic. It's as close. I was actually shocked to see how close to the ground they built those. They're like
Yeah, I
right
thought
there.
that they'd put the village back 100 metres.
100%.
You'd walk on some paved stones past sculptures of Paul Gallen and Gavin Miller to the restaurants, Japanese acai bowls.
Yeah, well said. Yeah, no,
Very
that's
much.
It, that's it.
You guys into them?
Oh, I don't mind it.
I've
But I don't know how
never-
to say the bastard.
I've never had one.
Haven't you?
I see them. They just look like it's a lot of like
They're good.
yogurt and fruit.
Yeah,
and-
try one in summer. You'll like it. It's refreshing.
but is it just yogurt and fruit?
No, it's
No,
a
no,
Brazilian
no.
berry.
It's
that
like-
has
it's like
antioxidants,
icy.
like icy.
Oh,
the purple stuff, the acai
Yeah,
or acai
purple
or whatever,
stuff's good.
is icy. You might get a bit of peanut butter on there. You get bananas, beautiful. Some berries, beautiful.
And this is
Yeah.
good for me.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
so if I make another rugby league based show, do you reckon you guys could cameo? Do you reckon
I
you-
would fucking.
I'm devastated we
love
weren't
to-
asked.
Yeah,
Yeah,
listen,
no,
you
I
know,
can
you
see that.
I didn't want to bring it up.
No, listen.
I'm not that sort of guy.
But it has come up now.
Yes.
I missed a fucking trick, didn't I?
Yeah. Listen, that would've
Nico also said I didn't get a call, but then I was the romantic lead in it, and I thought if I got Hines in,
Oh, it's
forget
all
about
over.
it.
for
No,
him.
It's
that's
all
tough,
over for
yeah.
me.
He's too fuckable.
Although he could,
so hot.
he could play your son. There's like an element
Geez,
of.
that's the nicest thing.
No,
anyone's ever
there's
said.
an element there where I could see Nico being your boy. I could see
You
it.
reckon he
kinda is.
could pass for Harold Matts?
Oh mate, yeah, he's still young looking. You could make Nico young for sure. At least I'd like to think so. Especially if when we're in the next one playing 24-year-olds, which is what I hope.
Is it a Sea Eagles Sharks grand final next year?
That's what good judges are saying.
And it might be the grand final that people want.
Yeah. Well, the Panthers,
sick
are,
of
the
Panthers
Panthers are done.
I
Put
was
a line
into
to
it. I was into it. I was like, I'm into greatness. Now they've had it. None of them seem to be that excited by it. I'm like,
No one gives
Yeah,
a shit.
they were just sitting against the post going,
okay,
don't know why they let us do this again.
yeah.
Literally.
This is
You know, like
confusing.
Brian Tyler's sitting on the ground. He's just sort of sitting there.
Sitting there with his
and they're
kid.
like, oh, like he's just, oh yeah, just taking it in.
Just taking it all in.
Yeah.
And it seems like this year was their easiest somehow.
Well, they didn't even. I don't even remember them playing the regular season.
No. And like Nathan barely
one
was
didn't
there.
does.
even play. Nath was in England with Mary,
He
just
was
hanging out, and then all of a sudden they went.
No, he
"Oh,
literally was.
September.
Oh, yeah, he went over there.
He just went over there. That's
there
what you
with
need to do now. You take June, July off. And you just come back
Don't
and
play
just
Origin.
fucking come under the radar and
But
win.
then it didn't work for Munster, did it? He didn't play Origin and
No.
like,
No, it didn't work for my. I mean, like Munster feels like the sort of guy that needs to be playing footy. He just like
yeah, he's a footy player.
He's a
He's
footy
what they
guy.
call a footy player.
He's an
isn't he?
out-and-out footy player.
He's
Just needs
just
to be
a
playing
footy
footy.
player.
Yeah.
And you look at that group of Panther men, and together, when they're together, they're capable of fucking anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's terrifying. You think, could we reassign them to like finding the thylacine, the Tasmanian tiger?
Get him to work on.
Apparently, there's been sightings.
Mate,
Oh, yeah.
get him down
We
there to
haven't seen
Western
one-
Tasmania,
to Western Tasmania.
one of the most brutal landscapes on the
Landscapes.
planet. Nothing down there.
Haven't seen
Find
one
that
since
fucking
1936.
thylacine.
1936,
Yeah.
Hobart Zoo.
Yeah.
There was a bounty given by the English because they thought they were killing the sheep.
Yeah.
So they fucking stripped them and hung them up like trophies. And then they went, hang on, they're not killing sheep. Too late.
Too late.
They're fucking gone. But there's been sightings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's men going mad out there. I went deep on YouTube one night. There's like, fucking, if you ever have a quiet night, just go thylacine deep on YouTube.
Yeah.
Really.
Just
there's
get a
people down
fucking
there?
big family packet of CCs, a couple of kombuchas and just knock yourself out.
Yeah.
Thylacine YouTube. There's dudes, and a lot of the dudes have had tragedy in their lives, but they've been out in the bush with those cameras that you fucking strap to a tree.
Yeah. Oh, and
And
the
they're like, I
movement
saw
mounted
one,
ones.
and you're like, that wasn't one.
That
mate."
wasn't a thylacine.
You know.
brother.
And now I'm obsessed. I'm like, fucking, they've got to be out there.
I want them to still be
well,
out
they
there.
did a season of that Alive where they drop them into like areas and they try to live for ages. They did one in Western Tasmania, and they were like, they didn't last fucking that long at all because there's nothing to catch in there. There's nothing to eat. It's
Oh,
like,
really?
It's a brutal, brutal part of the world.
Just paddy melons and Tasmanian devils and
That's
stuff,
right.
isn't it? But send the Panthers out there.
Yep.
Yo, go. You're with me, boys. Let's find
We're
this
gonna go
Tassie
find
tiger.
We're going to go find it. I mean,
Then
find,
they come
find
back.
the
They
Panther
come
in the
back
Blue
before
Mountains.
March, going.
No, yeah, they-
you need leaders.
Liam Martin.
They
Liam
do
Martin.
it. But send them
Oh, he'd
them
sniff one
individually.
out.
You couldn't, but they are the sum of their parts. Like individually, I don't think they can do it. You send the boys down there.
100%.
I'll get the
Led by
fucking job
Yo.
done.
Good on us, Dubbo boy. You need a country boy
They're
down there.
so fit.
Oh,
Yeah,
It was almost like unbearable to watch the fitness.
it was
Like
unrelenting.
they just kept going.
yeah,
and
And
going.
they spear into the line. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
a slingshot.
yeah, exactly. And Martin was like, "That's like the most difficult or like the tightest we've been playing a game." I was like yakking, and then like I'd just go again. You're like, right, so you could still go. There.
Something.
You could just keep going.
There's something else. And they played all season too, those blokes, Yo and Martin, like,
Yo's on another level, isn't he?
just
He
beasts.
could find the thylacine.
I mean, it'd be a nice, like, it'd just be a nice extra. We were going through like career statistics of. There was a journalist in Queensland who said that the big blight on Andrew Johns' immortal career was that he didn't dominate Origin.
What?
This guy Ben Davies.
Sorry, what?
Yeah, he's like, he didn't dominate Origin.
Yeah.
And so we were like, hold on a second, what the fuck are you
So
talking about?
what about 04? Was it 04?
No, 05 doesn't
05
count.
when he
One
came back?
series.
No, that's one series doesn't count.
Just one series.
He won
Played
5.
9.
Yeah, well, he won 5 series and he played in 20 fucking games and he had the greatest individual performance in the series.
5 don't count though, apparently. Can't win 5
The
shields.
internet's a terrible thing.
This
It is a
guy's-
terrible
and this
thing.
Journalist.
Journalist.
Which then made us start to get angry about Wally Lewis. Not angry about Wally Lewis, but angry because he's sucking Wally from the back, this journos in Queensland. Surprise, surprise. And he's like, well, he didn't dominate Origin like Wally. And I'm like, so therefore, you know, you call into question his eligibility to be immortal. And I'm like, but Wally never won a comp.
So what are we talking about here? Don't make us now have to talk shit about Wally because that's not what I'm here
I
for.
don't think it is trophies. I think it's changing the fabric of your position. Joey, his defence in the front line, he was another forward.
It's snap blokes.
He snapped blokes in half, and his little blindside plays, running in, looking out, all that stuff, using the ball, passing to
He's
space.
kicking.
Yeah. Going back
What
across
Slater
the ruck.
did, well, he should be more. He attacked the ball instead of catching it, and he told the forwards what to do. Cameron Smith all these blokes, they shifted it.
Yes.
They moved it forward.
It's not just accolades and trophies.
think
They
so.
help, but like it's not just that.
I think so. I
Banana
think it's
kick.
more pioneering.
Impact on the game.
Yeah,
Changing it.
yeah, and you look at Nath now and what he's doing with his foot on ball,
Yeah.
those things,
The different kicks
spinning
he's
that
doing,
way, going
the-
that way.
Foot staff.
It's foot stuff, dude.
Foot play.
It's his foot play.
Because he was bored against the Sharks. He's like, we're 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. 40-20, bang.
I know.
And it's like, he just got bored.
Yeah.
And then he was like, foot stuff.
He just,
Wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
he's
agree with
on
that.
his
So
way.
Ben doesn't get that.
Ben doesn't
I
get
think
it.
you got to shift it, you know, and there's artists that have done it. There's actors that have done it. There's people in all, you know, and Bill Gates with the phones, or what's his name? Jobs.
Yeah.
All those dudes. They did it with technology. I think in rugby league, it's you took something and you reimagined it. And the game changed because of what you did. And that's what Joey did. And I think that's what Nath's doing now.
Nate's doing it.
He's driving forward humanity, really.
But basically, I think it'd be a nice little addition on the Wikipedia to add found the thylacine to all of their achievements.
Not extinct.
Not extinct.
That would just be, how good would that? We'd take to the streets, wouldn't we?
Oh, yeah. That'd be a national holiday, wouldn't
Send
it?
Have to
them out
be.
there.
Thylacine Day.
Thylacine in between Grand Final and World Cup Challenge.
Yeah.
Thylacine Day.
Thylacine Day.
Another thing to muse on.
Yeah.
As well as One Bite, NRLW. There's some stuff there.
Yeah.
But lovely to see you guys.
Mate, it's been great to have you on.
And
Thanks for
unbelievable.
coming in.
Hammered on this. This is just,
There
it's
you
going to
go.
be a long day.
Mate, one a day. It's all you need.
That's all you
It's the
need.
least you can do.
So Plum, October 20, Sunday night, 8:30 p.m.
Yeah, ABC
iview.
Get into it. Tell your friends. And if you love it, go and read the book or listen to the audio book. But it's about rugby league, but don't be put off if you're not a league lover. It's about Australian families, about sport, and it's about all our lives, you know. So rip into it.
Congratulations. It's really
on you,
good.
mate.
I'm looking forward to watching the rest of it.
Congrats.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Unreal. Thanks, bro.
Could you two just not talk anymore?